What's up, guys? So in today's video, I'm going to be answering the number one question I probably get asked, which is how good do you need to be to make it as a walk-on in college football? Specifically, how good do you need to be to make the team? And then from there on, how good do you need to be to play on the team?
Who has been so good this season. He is passing as the lefty on this instance, picked off by Raterman of the Rocks. This one was a classic, folks.
Probably the main thing that people ask is they'll send me their stats. They'll say like, oh, I'm 6 foot, I'm 200 pounds, I run a 4.8 40, on this in the shuttle, this is my broad jump, and then they say, am I good enough to make it? So one of the main things we need to talk about here is it a preferred walk-on or is it a traditional, you go to a tryout, you make the team that way as a walk-on? So those two differences are pretty major, because a preferred walk-on, the way that they're going to be graded or looked at or offered is pretty much exclusively from high school for the most part. So basically, you're in high school, you're a good player, you have great highlights, you have great stats, you probably have really good genetic potential, so schools obviously see the value in you. They actually don't have enough scholarship spots to offer you money to play at that university, but they still want you as a player there, so they'll actually offer you a preferred spot, which means you already have a spot on the team. It's just they're not going to pay you to play there at first. Sometimes you can earn a scholarship later on. The other route is the traditional walk-on, where you're going to be going to a tryout, you're going to run a bunch of different combine drills like the 40, the shuttle, maybe your vertical or broad jump, and then do a couple drills, and then they're going to grade you that way and decide if you make the team or not. The traditional walk-on route is obviously pretty hard, because they're probably going to take most of their athletes that they have free roster spots for from the preferred section, which means they're going to recruit them out of high school, which leaves a very small pool of people left that they can then actually take from a traditional walk-on tryout. I've heard cases where some schools nowadays are not even doing the walk-on tryouts anymore because they're exclusively taking people from high school. But I definitely know that there's a ton of schools out there that still offer tryouts. You just have to really impress the coaches while you're there in those specific drills that you're working on. So again, like I said, preferred walk-on, you're going to be graded on, highlights, how good you are in high school, what your genetic potential looks like, if your football IQ is good, if they want you as a player on the team, if you're a good person all around, those traditional things that they would take a scholarship athlete and grade them on as well. Other route is the traditional walk-on, and those people are going to be graded almost exclusively on their 40 time, their shuttle time, basically all their combine times, and pretty much every drill that's at that tryout specifically. So this is important because some people are really good players and they're not as good of testers, and then some people are really good testers but they're actually not great players. So what I mean by this is somebody could have a really good 40 time, they could have a really good shuttle time, they could be killing it in all the combine drills, but when they get on the field, for some reason they're just not that good. They're not great at football. Maybe for a number of reasons, they just underperformed in the actual sport itself. And then it could be the opposite situation where somebody's amazing at football and they're just not great at testing. Maybe they don't have, super fast twitch muscles. Maybe they're not good in the 40. Maybe they're not good in the shuttle. So they're not going to be able to shine in that area. Like I said, this is important because if you're a really good tester, chances are you're going to shine in the tryouts and in places where, they're testing your combine drills and you're able to show off that kind of skill. And then if you're a really good football player, but maybe you're not the best tester, one of your main things you're going to be able to show off is, your high school time, your highlights, things like that. So this is a really important distinction because a lot of times when you go to those combine tryouts to see if you can make the team as a walk-on, a straight off the street walk-on, at these tryouts, they don't give a shit about what you did in high school. They really don't care that much about prior experience. They're not going to watch your highlights. They're going to look at you purely off genetic potential, and then they're going to grade you on all of your combine times, and they're going to see, like, is this person an athlete? Can we use them as a practice player? Do they look good enough to bring on? And can they move? Can they run? Those type of things. So if you think that you're better as a football player, but you're not great at testing, keep trying really hard in high school, and hopefully through your film and through your efforts at, going to different camps and through your stats, your highlights, your coach's recommendations, try to do most of your college outreach while you're in high school if you think you're a really good player there, but you're not going to test great, because that's going to give you a better chance of becoming a preferred walk-on, which is a time where they're actually evaluate your skill in terms of football itself. If you're past that point, like I was, just totally forget about it. And now's the time where you're going to have to focus on your looks in terms of athletic looks, your physique, your athletic potential, your genetics, your combine times, basically everything that's going to be judged at that specific tryout. Once people have actually made the team, or before they made the team and they're just looking way far ahead, they want to know, if I make the team, am I going to play as a walk-on? So this depends on a lot of different things. And things, like I've said before, is, are you a good player versus are you a good tester? So if you made the team because exclusively you're really good at the combine drills, you're just a really good athlete, but you're not really good at football, that's going to make it impressive for the coaches, but they're going to soon figure out, like, oh, maybe this person's not as good at football. So you'll actually probably have a leg up in getting the opportunities on the field to start, but then if they figure out you're not great at football, you will eventually probably not play. Versus if you're actually a good player and you've made the team, maybe by being a good tester as well, or you're a really good player in high school and you're a preferred walk-on and you made the team, you definitely have a chance to play either way, but it's going to be after years of hard work. It's going to be after years of proving yourself to the coaches, because obviously the coaches have a predisposition to like the scholarship athletes, because first of all, they're paying money for them. They hand-selected them and recruited them, so they're invested in their success. And they're just seen as a superior athlete because they're being paid for it. So you definitely have a lot of stuff to overcome, but I know tons of there's a million stories out there you guys can go read about walk-ons that have, either come straight off the street or they've been a preferred walk-on and they've eventually came on to the team and played. But usually you don't see that happening until either, 2, 3, 4, sometimes 5 years down the line of them being a walk-on and actually, proving themselves, working extremely hard, actually having skill and talent, and then getting the chance to show that skill and talent on the field. So a lot of those things matter, and it's definitely important to take into consideration whether somebody's a good player or just a good tester, or maybe a combination of both. The last two things I would say that play a big part in whether you're either going to make a team or you're going to play once you get on the team is going to be genetics and effort. So first of all, genetics is obviously a huge part of it. If they find a guy who's 6'4", 230 pounds, and then they run a 4.6 in the 40, they're gonna see that at the tryout. They're gonna see that this obviously a massive person. He runs really fast. That's gonna excite them, and they're probably gonna give that person a shot. So genetics are definitely a big role. I can't stress that enough. Some people who have worse genetics, you can still make it. You're gonna have to work harder just in life in general. That's how things work. Some people are, naturally more talented at some things. Some people are naturally more talented at other things. But if you say you have worse genetics than the other guy, but you work harder, you're smarter at football, you're in the right place at the right time on the field, you can definitely outperform somebody who has better genetics. So genetics definitely isn't everything, but if you have great genetics and you look like an athlete and you're a freak of nature running the 40 and the shuttle and the vertical jump and the things that are really testing just your base athletic nature, those things are going to help a lot. The second thing I wanted to talk about was effort. Effort's going to be huge once you finally make it on the team. You could sit outside when you're not on the team and be like, I'll give all my effort, I'll do 120%. People always like to hype themselves up when they're not actually on the team. And none of that matters. The coaches don't care. They know there's a billion people out there that are going to work as hard as they possibly can once they get the opportunity. So that really is not going to matter before you make the team. But once you're on the team, effort's going to be huge because they're going to notice effort in everything that you do. It's not just effort in a drill, one drill per day. It's not just effort in the weight room. It's effort across the board. It's how you carry yourself as a person. It's how you carry yourself in the classroom. It's how you carry yourself as a leader. If you demand respect from people and you're constantly working hard across every area, you're always the guy that steps up for the drill. You're always the guy that gives an extra an extra effort. You're always the guy that somebody wants to go against because they know that you're going to give them a good look. All that stuff's going to matter and play a big role in your success long term. Okay, so the last thing I wanted to talk about with this video, my personal story walking on and my personal high school highlights, just so you guys can see them and have some sort of comparison to go off of. It's definitely not something I would hang your hat on and be like, all right, this is definitely, if my highlights look similar to his, then I can definitely make it too. Or if my highlights don't look like his, I can't make it. Neither of those are going to be true. I'm, many years removed from high school, a couple years removed from college now. So none of this stuff's going to weigh a lot, but just to give you guys some comparison, I'll post up some of my high school highlights from my senior year afterward. I played corner. I was first team all conference, first team all district, and some awards like that. I actually didn't play a lot in high school until my senior year. Really, my senior year was my standout year. I played in a pretty hard division of football in Ohio. It was a good football state. And I would say that I definitely was an above average, if not a great player in high school. But I was pretty late to the game. I wasn't looking to get recruited. And I really didn't even have any thoughts or aspirations of playing football in college at the time. So that's not what I was focused on. I didn't go to any camps. I wasn't trying to get recruited. And I still had some looks from colleges that I definitely could have gone and played for. But I decided that wasn't the path for me and that I was definitely going to go to Ohio State and pursue my academics until I decided I wanted to walk on there. For my personal tryout, when I did actually make the team, my walk-on tryout, the first time I tried out, they didn't have roster spots, so I actually didn't make the team at that tryout, but I came back to the next tryout. So I actually made the team at a winter tryout, which is usually the first week of the semester in the winter, and then the fall tryout is usually the first week of the fall semester. Anyway, at that tryout, my best combine times was a 4.5 something in the 40, low. I think I ran like a 4.00 in the shuttle, which was crazy. I don't know if I have that recorded somewhere or not, but I definitely ran a really good shuttle, really good 40. And then I ran a really good L cone, really good star drill. I can't even remember those times, honestly. I don't even remember what a great time is at that. But I did really perform my best in those specific drills. And then when they asked me to stick around a little bit afterward, I also performed well in the drills that were position specific. So for me, it was safety drills. So yeah, that was my story. Hopefully you guys can take some of that. You can look at my previous highlights from high school, which, by the way, colleges are not going to look at. Ohio State did not look at my previous highlights, nor did they want to. They don't want you sending them your highlights at all. That's actually really annoying to them. And then they didn't look at, they asked me if I played football in high school, which saying yes helps, and they asked which coach I played for. I played for a really good coach, so that also helps. So some of those things will help in conversation, but they're not going to look too much into it, especially if you're a really good athlete, you have good genetic potential, and you show off your speed, your strength, your agility when you're actually at that tryout. If you have any questions about your stats, and you think by sending your stats to me saying, I run my 40 time is this, my shuttle time is this, I weigh this much, I'm this tall, that stuff, I'm not going to be able to tell you whether that's going to work at your school or not, or if they're going to accept you or not. And really, if you're asking me those type of questions, it means you're not super dedicated, because somebody who really wants to go and try out and really wants to play college football, they don't give a shit about what their stats are, or what the school's taking, if they're going to accept them or not. None of that stuff matters, because they have one goal, and it's to go make that team. So really, they don't care. They're going to go, they're going to try out, and they're going to try to make that team, regardless of what their stats are, regardless of what they think the school is going to accept. So really, a lot of those things aren't even going to matter until you go and you try yourself and figure it out for yourself. So if you think in your head there's a chance you might regret not giving it a try, you should definitely go to the school that you dream of, figure out when a tryout is, train your ass off, and try to make that team. Otherwise, you're going to look back in 40 years and be like, dang, man, I really wish I would have at least tried. I think I could have done it. You definitely don't want to be the guy that's like, oh yeah, I totally could have made the team. Like, I mean, I didn't want to. Like, I mean, I could have done it, but I didn't want to. You're that guy. You totally could have made it. But I hope that some of these comparisons can help you guys in deciding, you know, what's best for you, what route to take, and if hopefully you're good enough to make a team. That's the goal, was to answer that question and to get some of the nuances out of the way there. hopefully all that stuff helps. Like I said, this video is meant to help you guys get to a better answer of, are you good enough to make the team? If you have any thoughts of it, you should definitely go to your dream school, figure out when the tryout is, and just give it a try, because you don't want to have any regrets later on in life. So hopefully that helps. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.